long time. I feel like
we got to start over. I was definitely in the middle. I was literally like this. Okay, let's do it one more time.
Back to one. All right, here we go. And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Girls Wanna Know. It has been forever, I feel like.
It's been so long.
Maybe it ain't been that long. It's been like 2 weeks.
It's been like 2 months.
Has it?
It's been like a month and a half.
Okay. I never know what time now.
Couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I never know what the date or time is either. Yeah.
You know,
we're living in some kind of space-time continuum. Time doesn't exist here.
What they say, we jump timelines. I know I did because some don't add up.
I absolutely jump timelines. I'm very excited about it.
We took a little chronic break. People were busy. I was working on a project and then we were catching up on life. So now we're back. I hope y'all are doing good. We're going to talk about some fun stuff today. But first, we're going to get into what we've been up to.
What have we been up to? So I have a couple fun, exciting things.
Yes.
I'm no longer vegan.
Wow.
I know.
That's major.
It's major.
Why did you change?
So basically, I was just not feeling great.
Oh.
And I don't have health insurance, so I can't go to the doctor and get blood work done.
You need to say that to the camera. Like,
you need health insurance. You need health insurance to be vegan because you need to be able to get blood work done and figure out like where am I deficient, what things are like not working in my body, so I can figure out where I need to supplement, what other stuff I need to eat more of. I don't have that, and so I was feeling really bad, and I was looking up things about how to heal your nervous system. And I kept seeing stuff about eating fish and eggs. And this is the thing.
Those are key vitamins in those.
I've been craving fish and eggs for like years. Like,
and you've been depriving yourself?
It's not even that. I was vegan. So I'm gonna be they got on my head about calling myself vegan. I was plant-based. Yeah, I was plant-based. And so I think when you commit to a certain diet, for me, it was a thing where I went vegan because I wanted to feel better. Like eating fish and like ground beef, I was getting like super nauseous. Chicken, I would get super nauseous. And so I went vegan. I was just like, fuck it, I'm not going to do it anymore. I was already lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
And so I went vegan, and then I was fine for like years. And then suddenly I wasn't. And
it's a lifestyle change.
It's a lifestyle change. And I had to do the thing where I was just like, I constantly preach about like not being rigid and kind of going with the flow and letting things happen how they need to happen and not being like super attached to one outcome. And I posted online that I said, does this happen to other vegans? Sometimes I like crave fish and eggs. Baby, them vegans.
They tapped in. I mean.
The attack.
Oh, they were
violent.
angry.
They attacked the fuck out of me.
That's the same way they do when women with natural hair decide to relax.
Oh my God.
They like jump down their throats.
I think because I wasn't a preachy person. I'm not preachy. Like, I feel like if
social media nowadays is very conflict. They like to fight there.
They called me Dahmer.
That's a little much. Dahmer is a little much.
Called me Dahmer.
Well, okay, over fish?
Okay. They called me a supremacist. They equated it to slavery.
You know what? I think that you know what it is? I realize it's because you can't see who's talking to you. They feel like it's more fun to just be weird, you know, behind the scenes. I'm noticing that because you could be, like somebody told me the other day, I had posted a video about my ADHD because I'm on ADHD medication, finally. And somebody was like, you need to find out if you really got ADHD because it's sounding like the medicine ain't work. I said, come through, TikTok doctor. Find out if you really got it. They was coming for my neck because I was talking about. What doctor
is prescribing ADHD medication for someone who is not ADHD?
That's why I said, come on, doctor.
I mean, I guess you could get it if you got like
What my point of the matter is, people wanted to argue with me about the symptoms that I was experiencing from my first 2 weeks of taking the pills, instead of them just being like, wow, that's your experience. They were like, you don't even have it. They were just tearing me down.
Literally,
I'm like, damn.
They was like, you social media vegan. And it's just like, but I didn't eat. Like, I cut out honey. I was
like, relax.
Just really like stickler about it. It was so outrageous.
So how's your experience been since then? Is the energy better?
I mean, my energy's better. I have more mental clarity. The other thing is, this was a really kind of like huge thing for me, like a validation. I chipped a tooth. And it's in the bottom, and I feel very much like I look like a snaggletooth. You
did tell me that. I'm like, I never noticed.
But I just like it's really bothering me. And I was driving this guy like 3 weeks ago, and he was telling me how his roommate used to be vegan and his teeth were like cracking and falling out. And I was like, what the fuck? And the thing is, it's because you get a lot of calcium from dairy and you get a lot of vitamin D from things that are not like in abundance in a lot of the plant-based
periods of time.
So over a long period of time, it can erode the enamel on your teeth, and you know, you can kind of lose strength in your teeth and they can crack.
Shit.
Obviously, there are ways that you can avoid this as a vegan.
Not vegans is out here deteriorating.
Well, I think the thing is, like, unless you're super tapped into every single supplement and nutritional need that you
like
have,
vitamins and stuff?
yes, then you're going to have kind of a different experience than what is ideal. And so, again, it's one of those things where if I had health insurance and I could have gone and gotten blood work done, a doctor probably could have told me, hey, you're calcium deficient. Hey, you're this deficient. You're that deficient. I probably would have felt a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But because I don't have health insurance to go do that, I kind of got to just say, okay, my body is craving fish. My body is craving
think your body
eggs.
knows the apocalypse is coming.
Your body knows
and
what you
can't
need.
be vegan in the apocalypse.
Yeah, like your body is going to tell you exactly what you need.
You gonna
every
need to
time
stab
you
a
need
fish
it.
and cook it yourself.
Like we don't got to talk about it like specifically. I still do struggle with it a little bit, but ultimately, like I understand that we are in a food chain, and quite honestly, if I'm in the ocean, baby, the shark gonna eat me.
But I'm just saying, it's expensive to be vegan. It is.
It can be expensive. Yeah.
You know, I tried it once. I get thin really fast, so like I couldn't do it. Plus, I'm already anemic, so I felt like just the first few weeks of me trying to be vegan, I was like cold and skinny, and it just was too much. But that's crazy.
You definitely have to be mindful.
So what's going on with your tooth?
You're eating. So I mean, this is America. So
we're gonna get into that. Well, let me tell you what's been going on me real quick. I'm like, tell me about the tooth before we get into America.
Because I don't have health insurance, and so trying to find a dentist to get this situation together, like even with a low income, there's like low income programs that you can do where you can sign up, you pay a minimal fee, and they don't answer the phone.
Oh, that's everywhere now, though.
And so I have figured out something. We're going to see if it works. When I come back next week, I should have like a whole situation straightened out. I don't know. We're going to see.
You just got to apply pressure.
Yes.
You got to apply pressure for everything nowadays. I feel like everywhere is short staffed. Nobody's answering phones. So as a matter of fact, it'd be like stuff that is necessary. Like I was calling something about my car the other day, and like people answer the phone like, what do you want?
Yeah,
like,
they'd be really irritated. You asking them to do their job. And this is the thing, I understand that people are stressed and you feel overwhelmed and frustrated that you are being underpaid and overworked. However, the people that are calling on you to do those jobs that you're doing, they are also being underpaid and overworked, and they need help. They need help. We cannot all just be shitty to each other because we're unhappy.
Oh, it's a shitty time right now.
It's
very shitty right now.
I have good news though.
What is it?
I do have good news. I booked my first paid collaboration.
Congratulations. That just definitely should be on a pod.
Huge collaboration. Yeah.
Now that we're talking about that, is that a vegan company?
It's not a vegan company.
It's cooking.
It was a cooking company. Okay. It was like a social media app where they're trying to build out a part of their like kitchen section of their social media app. So it's kind of similar. Y'all can
I thought it was vegan food or something.
No, it's called Flip. So it's a social media app. They basically have kind of similar to TikTok Shop where there's different like sections. They have fashion, they have beauty, they have kitchen, they have home.
Oh, a lot of people are starting those.
Yes, they let me shop and pick out a bunch of kitchen stuff. And my only directive was to cook and make 2-minute videos.
Nice. And then they use those for that.
I posted them. I have my own Flip account. Yeah. And so, yes, it was just such a perfect collaboration for me. And yeah, y'all can follow me on Flip if you want to see more cooking videos.
Congratulations. That's exactly what you wanted.
It's
she has been talking about this UGC thing, and I was like, girl, I gave up.
Yes. And then another company reached out. So the ball is rolling, baby.
And this is what we want. And I think that's where the world is going. Yes. And really starting to see lately that the digital world and a lot of the influencers are really making it happen. And it seems like that's where we're headed. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you, boo. I'm going to put some notes in the episode so we can...
No. Yeah. I mean, nothing much is going on me but the usual guys shows as per usual, which I'm grateful and blessed.
Yes.
I just finished a food show pilot. It's really great.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I shot a pilot, which is awesome, over what's going on in the industry right now. And
I mean, kudos, baby. We've been out here working, FYI. Yes.
And then a lot of other really amazing opportunities have come up that I don't want to talk about just yet because I'm like, you know how the world is. But I'm still hitting the stages, y'all, and like finding balance and, you know, all that.
Things are good.
It's positive.
It's positive stuff.
It's moving in a great direction. I'm very much looking towards where we're going in the coming year. A lot of growth has happened for me this summer too, I must say, as far as like healing and understanding myself. And just in this journey I was talking about, like I'm finally on ADHD medication, you know, being diagnosed at 12 and like free balling it that long. And now being on meds.
You did a good job.
I did an okay job. You
did a good job. I think the thing is when you're dealing with a mental health disorder, like if you're doing it without the like assistance of medication and you're still getting shit done, you're doing a good job.
I mean, I've gotten far with it. I will say that now that I'm on it, I definitely see a difference in the way my emotions have, like, a lot of emotional dysregulation. I notice it comes from my ADHD. Yeah. Now that I've been on a medication, it's like when I have those moments of like jolts of overly emotional thoughts or wanting to talk and like it's I feel like it's like suppressing. The only terrible thing is you'll never be hungry again, bitch. And that's what everybody was arguing with me about. It's like the staying up late and the hunger has thrown me off. Like, I haven't taken the meds in a couple of days because I feel like I'm still running off of them. Like last night, I did a whole comedy show, y'all. Got in my car, drove Uber, came home, shot 5 videos.
You might need to do every other day or every 2 days.
I was at home like right now I'm stacked for the week. Now it's good. But I was in it, and then I was like laying there. I was like, should I write jokes? And I was like, you should try to go to bed.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. It's not letting me sleep, and the eating is. I drop weight. When I tell y'all, I drop weight faster than anybody. I know people hate me for this.
A problem I wish I had. Okay.
But the medication, I know it's bad. Like, I woke up the other day and was like, you look like you could hop on a runway. Like right now. Like I have my old body from 19. And let me no, I'm serious. I had some old panties in my drawer that was an extra small. And when them motherfuckers got on, I said, let's eat a sandwich. Head on to the kitchen, baby. Head on to the kitchen. I
think this is a universal thing for women that we got some old ass drawers.
To remind you.
We just keep them. I don't know why we don't throw this shit away.
The one pair extra small panties.
I literally have one pair.
Baby.
I don't know why I still have
and
these.
They fit. I said,
these are a relic of the past. We're not ever gonna get back together. However, I still got these drawers.
It's rough.
We all do this.
I put on this shirt that I have, y'all, that used to be like a banging cleavage shirt for me. Like, titties was popping. Put it on, titties was gone. Mm-hmm. I said, you need to go back to the kitchen and make something else. And even if you feel gagged, you eat it. That's the only thing, though. The side effects have been
sparkling water.
I got that. I'm gonna probably try to cut them in half.
Or you could
every other day.
If you still feel like you're running off of it for a couple days. Yeah. You might want to cut it in half and then also go to every other day. I would talk to your doctor and see what they think.
I'm going to talk to her.
Because for my antidepressant, I ended up doing every other day.
I'm peaced out on those.
And that worked a lot better.
That didn't work for me.
Antidepressants also made me not eat. And they made me,
I think I'm better with my ADHD. Let's just stick to
that. No, 100%. But I'm saying it's the same kind of thing. And we ended up going every other day.
Yeah. I mean, I like the way my stomach look, but like the extra small panties not going to work.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm too old for that.
The ass said,
let's leave right now. Pack it up. I mean, it's a booty back there, but it's a little booty. I'm definitely like a little booty. But I was like, damn, you could literally Victoria's Secret on these hoes right now. As a matter of fact, Monday I'm calling my modeling agency and be like, baby, I'm back.
Say, maybe we just
go ahead and get them coins.
A couple of chicks. Maybe you hit the TikTok video and do a little fashion turnaround.
I think I need to figure out whatever the niche is to do the niche.
100%.
But let's get into what we're talking about today.
We're talking about This is America.
This is definitely America, baby, right now.
And all of the This is America things that are so inherently American and ridiculous and absurd.
America is American right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely American.
Yeah.
It's to the point where it's embarrassing, kind of.
I don't be embarrassed. It's not my fault.
I be feeling embarrassed.
This nothing to do with me. I, as a Black person, have not American.
That's true.
Yeah.
We shouldn't claim it.
It's not my responsibility the way that
this our moment to be like, hey man,
yes, I didn't have.
They
nothing
said
to
we
do
couldn't
with
come to the party anyway. They didn't even invite us.
America is Americaning all on its own. It has nothing to do with me.
It's just like something going on all the time. And now I think as I'm getting older, I'm noticing how much these things that go on affect us.
Oh yeah.
When I was younger, I used to be like, oh, war. Anyway, off to the club. Now,
yeah,
I kind of feel the heat of when we have a bad president, or, you know, when something is going on in another country and they need to send money there to help them, and how that affects everyone else's lives over here. So now I look at the voting and who we want in office, all that so differently now. So differently now. Because like, as a comic, I thought it was funny when we were watching Trump being president.
Oh, God.
I thought it was, because you don't think about it. I'm like, when he left, we saw the aftermath of how terrible he left it. You know, we were all shocked that Roe versus Wade was turned around. Like, it was like, where are we going? Are we going back to slavery?
Yeah, so this is what I think. I think everybody was trying to... I think a lot of people saw that this was the direction that we were going with him. And I think...
What do you mean, from last time he was...
From 2016, yeah. Because when he got elected, I literally cried.
A lot of people did.
I fell asleep. I think that election, they didn't announce it until like 2 or 3 a.m. or something like that. So I had already fallen asleep. Right,
because they were like a close...
It was, heavily... it just took a long time for them to call it. But basically, I woke up and found out that he got elected, and I just bawled my eyes out. So I have always been aware of what the president, what the people in Congress, what the Senate, all of that means. Mm-hmm. I think for me, I have seen a lot of people say it's the lesser of two evils, or either one is bad, and it just is so incredibly reductive to say stuff like that because it's not true. And I think what happens is when you have this mindset that it doesn't matter, this is how we end up with a Trump. Because
that's what happened.
Yeah, the whole election between Hillary and Trump, they were calling Hillary the lesser of two evils. This is not that.
Yeah.
This is just, it's just not true. And so what ended up happening was you had a lot of people who didn't show up, or they voted third party. Did not, and the thing is, like, you can vote third party. That is your right. Mm-hmm. You're wasting your vote, I feel like, when you vote for a third party. We're in a two-party system. Mm-hmm. And so if your idea is, I'm going to protest vote for this person who's never going to be elected, well, you're giving up your right to participate in the process anyway.
But they probably don't see it that way.
They don't see it that way, but this is why Roe v.
It doesn't
Wade
help us, though.
Yeah, Roe v. Wade got overturned. Like, this is why we're looking at conservative judges across the board, like, approving or denying things that seem absolutely absurd. So
and what they don't highlight those things on the media. And I think that's what the problem is for a lot of our youth that are looking at, the presidential party and all that stuff. Even at the time when Trump was getting in, they don't showcase those things. And a lot of people are very uneducated in what they're actually voting for. They usually look at just, these are the debates and which person seems like, when there's so much other things, you like Congress and people and, secretaries that like your local, those things are also big parts of that play into those things that a lot of people don't really know. And we are learning that now with Kamala, I'm saying her name right, getting ready to run, how often people are misinformed on who that person is. Yes. I think the first 2 weeks of them announcing that she was taking over after Biden, all I saw on TikTok and Instagram was everybody just being like, she is a terrible person. Her
top cop.
And she put so many Black men in jail. Mm-hmm. How could you ever vote for her? Mm-hmm. And my first thought was, not against the dude that's a felon.
But I also think,
and he grabbing pussies?
I think the crazy thing about that is she didn't put a lot of people in jail.
She didn't. I'm just saying, either way, even if she did, you trying to go with homie?
Yeah. But I think it's important to clarify that, right? Because I think what ends up happening
still blowing my mind. That's like,
this is why people protest vote,
don't make
right?
No sense.
Because they feel like, well, one is just as bad as the other. When in reality, she didn't put a lot of people in jail.
She definitely did not.
She put a lot of pedophiles in jail. And women abusers. Mm-hmm. But Black men, no. So if it's free to homie and Kamala locked him up, what did the homie do?
Because what did the homie do?
Like, for real. I think these are the questions we have to ask, because she was not just indiscriminately locking up Black men. That is false.
It's what we're learning, though. The media and social media is very persuasive.
It is.
It will have people really off they top trying to figure out and not really doing real research and not really reading. And I think, Trump is definitely a social media influencer, not a president.
And he also said that he got shot in the ear. And
he's so good at his platform.
You didn't get
popping.
Shot. And I don't understand why the media is not covering this in a real way.
Because he's a social media influencer. He had that all set up. I don't buy anything he does.
No, but I just feel like a president has staged a fake shooting, and no one. They're saying that his ear healed in record time. I have paper cuts on my fucking finger.
Yeah, I cut
that have
myself, and it's taken a minute.
Longer to heal
I ain't never
than this ear. This motherfucker was wearing a stack of paper towels on his ear
for days,
for like 2 weeks, and now
it's gone. Oh wait, didn't they say he had it on the wrong ear?
I don't know.
I
just feel like why are we not talking about this?
Because everybody know he is. Look, he is a WWE performer, and I don't get it. But I don't know. I just think the research that people need to start doing needs to be so much deeper. And I think a lot of people really liked Trump, believe it or not. I think a lot of people really did. There are other comics right now that I see them like fighting online about it, and I'm always so surprised.
Honestly, when I talk to people. If I were friends with somebody and found out they voted for Trump, this would be somebody I would.
Oh, somebody I just found. I was like, I would never. Yeah, speak to him never
speak to them again. And it's one of those things. People be like, we can have a difference of opinion, and we can't have a difference of opinion.
I also feel bad that I gave him advice the other day. I was like, how do I take the advice?
Yeah, like literally, I will never speak to you again. So, and it's the same for me on dating apps because. You know, we put a little levity in there.
When I'm never coming back to a dating app again.
When I'm on dating apps and I see that men are moderate or conservative, it's always a no for me.
Baby, I went on a dating app for 2 minutes and I had to get a red balloon and just pop that shit. Pop the balloon and it was like, they're all bad.
But I think when you're looking at men who identify as conservative or moderate, these are people who are always going to find a way to weaponize patriarchy in their favor.
Yeah.
And so a lot of men benefit from patriarchy, but they try not to actively weaponize it in their favor.
Right.
These are going to be men who are actively weaponizing it in their favor. And I just, you going to trot out the Bible at some point while you
now
calling people...
Fill me in on this.
Slurs.
Right.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't know. Now, I'm not educated on this part, but after everything that he was convicted with, Trump, I'm speaking of, or they took him. How are you able to? I missed that. I just didn't know. How are you able to?
Because I don't really feel like they ever thought we would get to a point where a convicted felon would be running for office.
But how does that work?
Because there's no laws against it. Because I don't think anybody ever thought that it would be a thing that we would have to legislate.
Right? I thought there was also a rule.
There's a rule that you can't vote as a convicted felon. But you can run for office because no one thought that you... Am I right, Mark?
Well, yeah. I thought that you couldn't run for president that many times like that.
Yeah, Obama was a 2-term president. Bush was a 2-term president. Clinton was a 2-term president.
Everybody was
Everybody liked them.
Yeah.
Well, nobody liked Bush, but Bush bought the election. But what happens is you can run for 2 terms. You can be president for 8 years.
Okay, so, and my mom, I thought maybe he set it up this way. I'm like, I just didn't think.
No, he ran in 2016 and he won.
Okay.
And then it was such a fucking disaster that he ran again in 2020 and he lost. And now he's back to run again in 2024.
That's what I think I was confused about. I'm like, how do you come back all these times?
Running. He's 87 million years old. He's 87 years old.
Is he 87? You lying?
78.
I was about to be like, he is not 87.
Sometimes I will flip some numbers around. My bad. He's 78.
I was about to be like, he is old.
I think at this point, it's time for him to just go ahead and retire to Mar-a-Lago and live his life. I'm so tired.
I'm looking forward to this debate, September 10th.
Are we going to have a debate?
They announced it.
I mean, do we think he's going to show up? I don't mean, are we going to have it? I mean, do we think he's going to show up to a debate or do we think he's going to cower away?
No, I think he's going to show up.
Okay.
I think it's the anticipation of it is very WWE and he wants that.
So I'm actually wondering how Kamala will handle if he tries to stalk her around the stage the way he did Hillary. Because in 2016, during the debates with Hillary, he literally was stalking her around the stage. He would follow her and tower over her in the shadows. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but this was just...
she walking and he behind her.
Yes.
He ain't gonna do nothing crazy like that with Kamala. That's crazy.
And also, Kamala is the vice president of the United States, so I feel like maybe they might have a little conversation don't pull that shit, but also the Secret Service. I don't know.
I don't think that's...
this was a thing, though. I at this point, I kind of feel crazy. I need for people to chime in the comments and let me know if they remember this, but
I don't remember that.
He literally was, following her around the stage. It was very, very weird.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen this time. You talking about a black woman, baby? No,
I know. Kamala will hit you with the
turn. You get hit in the face with her silk press.
Baby, it ain't a silk press.
It's not.
She uses a round brush.
Not happy about it. I hate you. That's a good
I just think
blowout,
that's so it's so relatable to be able to
pop
out of the politics of it and say, no, she uses a round brush. It's a round brush.
Brush out heat.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen. No, he's not crazy. I feel like he's going to show up because it's such a high anticipation.
He has to at this point. I think he's if
he's gonna make a mockery out of it though.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's either he knows he's gonna lose and he has to go out with a bang. And he's going to do that. This is Trump. So he's going to show up and show out, baby. He's got main character energy, regardless of being a smart person. So he's going to do that.
I don't even think he has main character energy. I saw this thing. No, he doesn't. I saw this thing.
I mean, I got hate for him, but he got main character energy.
I saw this tweet where this guy was like, Trump is spiraling because he faked an assassination attempt and realized that nobody cared. Yeah. And so the reason that now, because he's not campaigning.
I mean, that's narcissistic behavior at 101.
Campaigning. We haven't seen this man on a campaign. Like, he was 20 minutes late to his show, or 30 minutes or something. He was in like Iowa yesterday or somewhere.
Oh, I didn't see this. I gotta look into it.
He was not there on time. Yeah. And I think I saw something where he's like speaking behind a bulletproof glass. Nobody trying to shoot you.
You lying.
Nobody tried to shoot you the first time. Cut the shenanigans. But I think that he's kind of realizing that he doesn't have the same connection to his base as he did in 2016 and in 2020. Yeah. So
the people have been through a lot.
They've been through a lot, but I also think
America is in a tough space.
Yeah, it's gotten to be very it's a little more absurd than I think even some of them could comfortably like accept.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. I want to just take a moment to highlight some of the things that Kamala did.
We should. I was going to be like, yeah.
And I also want to take a moment to highlight some of her policies. Trump has not given us his. We do know that the 2025 project
That's
is
what I was going to say.
something
That's the only thing
that he has tried to distance himself from. However, there
recently.
However, there are several people from his previous cabinet who are a part of the project. It's from the Heritage Foundation. Mm-hmm. They basically want to take America back to like 1860.
Basically, I don't know if you guys have like, you can find it online, can't you?
You can. It's
so just we're trying to educate you guys.
80 pages or
there
something.
We go. Yeah.
So if you want to read the bullet points, there are websites that you can get on.
You can see the whole project 2025.
But just to give a little bit of context for the accomplishments of Veep. Okay. Veep. I love that.
Let's give the Kamala highlights. Coming to the stage.
So she created a program to slow down mass immigration in partnership with, I want to say 50 U.S. companies.
Yeah.
So in order to help slow down mass immigration from Central America, they created this partnership to create jobs for immigrants or would-be immigrants in those countries. And it's jobs in agriculture, textile, farming, just a myriad of different farming is whatever.
I mean, that's actually
a myriad of different like areas to create growth opportunities in those locations so that people don't necessarily have to come to the United States. Because people not coming to the United States because we have the American dream. They come into the United States because there's no opportunity where they live. Yeah. So I think this idea that immigrants are stealing your job, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
Like, the idea that these people are coming in and taking your jobs, no one's taking your jobs. You want to know what's taking your jobs? AI is taking your jobs.
Thank you.
Billionaires who have decided that
they don't want people in their company no more.
Yeah,
taking your job.
So when I go to Target now, I'm looking at everything locked up, and I'm not able. Oh my God,
let's get it. That was on mine.
But I'm not able to like get any help from anybody. And it's because y'all have stopped hiring people. The billionaires are taking your jobs, friends. It's not the immigrants. The immigrants are doing jobs that they don't want to pay the amount of money that they would have to pay. And so they're paying people who they know they can take advantage of. Yes. Like, let's be very clear about this. But given the opportunity to do these jobs, motherfuckers couldn't do them. So I just want to stop the whole idea of they taking your job. Let's just cut that out.
It's so fake. But I piggybacking off what you're saying, like, seeing this happen in our country, like, it's not just certain areas. Like, I remember there was a time you'd like, oh, I'm in a particular area and this Walgreens has everything locked up because, oh, we're in Hollywood. It's a lot of shenanigans going on. Now you're in like all types of neighborhood. You can't when
get
places
nothing.
Start locking up soap and deodorant, what's going on?
You can't get nothing. And they want to blame it on theft, but I don't believe
No, here's the thing with that too, that has nothing to do with people being poor and wanting to steal. You ain't got nobody working there, ma'am. Everything in the whole store is an automatic checkout thing. So what you want them to do? They gonna scan the TV as the soap. You didn't make them do it. They in there trying to save money because the economy bad, so they didn't scan the soap under the TV.
But I also saw this thing that said, I was at Target yesterday and they had this soap that I always buy, $6.99. I buy Oil of Olay shea butter soap, okay? It's always $6.99. It was $6.99. I've been using it probably since like 2010, okay? I'm committed to the soap. It went up briefly for like maybe 4 or 5 months from $6.99 to like $7.99 to $8.99 to $9.99, okay? Target and Walgreens experienced a significant drop in people shopping. Like, y'all's bottom line got hit significantly because people just said, fuck it, I'll buy it on Amazon because I'm not about to keep letting you gouge me.
Baby, so sunscreen is $12.99. Exactly. I was in there the other day. I said, I'm going to go ahead and burn down.
So I literally, I went in there the other day and my body wash is back to $6.99 and it says new low price. Bitch, this is the fucking price. This was the price it was. This is not a new low price. This is the price it's supposed to be.
But going back into that, this is my issue of where we are and why I'm like, we really need to look at this. The economy is not only just bad, there are no jobs and they are lying and telling people there are jobs. There are not jobs. And the things that they're saying like, oh, these people are taking the jobs. AI is taking the jobs that we all had that were least paying our bills. At this point, you're also like, well, I want to work at Target. And then you're like, they're hiring, but then they're like not hiring. And you go there and there's nobody working there. So that's why y'all getting robbed because it's one person at one counter and everybody like, well, fuck it. I ain't got the money. I can't get hired. Let me scan.
But I also just feel like,
it's just like,
why am I in here on a Saturday? The busiest day of the week for a convenience store because Target is a glorified convenience store. Let's be honest. Like, why am I in this store on a Saturday and the line to check out is like 15
3 hours.
people deep?
This is everywhere, though, you guys. Yeah. Everywhere is understaffed, yet everybody's like, oh, there's so many jobs. They're not.
Yeah.
There are a lot of trash jobs that you could waste your time at and not pay no bills.
I remember I got an interview for a job. I was like, yes.
You know?
And I did the interview, and something the guy said during the interview kind of made me feel like,
got to go.
I don't know about this. And then another guy texted me, because they text you now, to set up the next interview. And I just had a hunch. I'm like, is this job commission only? And he was like, yeah, okay, baby, you can. He was like, are you still interested?
Not at all.
Immediately, no. Like, I wish I would work commission only.
I can get in my car and press this button called Uber.
Like,
get off me.
Baby, I'm just not about to put myself in that position. But also, I think these commission-only jobs get a lot of free labor and a lot of lead sourcing from people that they don't have to pay. These jobs where they interview and they want you to do a project before you do it. Yeah.
It's a lot of that going on.
It's a lot of free labor.
Because I used to make a lot of money on Fiverr doing projects like UGC stuff, or I would do voiceover. Lately, in the last few months, people are like, can you send us a voiceover first? I'm like, babe, this is not how this works.
No, I'm not going to audition. You can hear my fucking voice.
This is like, not, what are you talking about? You could take it. Yeah. I always write back like that. But I just feel like that's where we are.
That's where we are, yeah.
And I feel like it's everywhere short-staffed. Nothing is really mobily moving the same because we don't have enough people doing anything. And those things need to be taken care of. We're all falling under.
Everyone is going through their own kind of reckoning right now. I want to just get back on to the topic of what Veep has done, though, because I think it's important to give context to that and to also give kind of some insight into what she wants to do as president. So she also expanded Medicaid postpartum care in 40 states.
Let's go.
So there were only 3 states that had expanded Medicaid postpartum care from, I want to say you probably got 6 weeks or 3 months or something like that. I don't know. Let me not misspeak. But she expanded it to 12 months. Okay. And a lot of, if it's 43 states, obviously she got some Republican states to do it as well. The great thing about that, though, is that we already know that postpartum care is very difficult. Women go through a lot of emotions. Their hormones are out of whack. Your body is going through a lot of different things. Expanding Medicaid postpartum care allows underserved communities to be able to access necessary care after giving birth in the same ways that people who are of more means are able to. So that's super important.
And important.
It's very important.
Like, do we want to lose these things? Because once we don't have them, then everybody's going to complain. It's going
Yes. And I think this is also kind of goes hand in hand because you'll hear people say, what did this administration do for Black people? Y'all, and the video circulating of her saying, you're not going to see me say that I'm going to do something specifically for one race. I feel like
they're really pointing that out.
They really pointed out, but I feel like people.
But then I don't really see what the problem with that is.
Politics. You're not finna get a candidate who say, I'm for the Black people. I'm going to do XYZ for Black people, because that is going to alienate a lot of other people in their base.
Also, is that you can't go into no corporate job and be like, I'm here for the blacks.
I'm here for the blacks.
You're gonna have to
can say that on my social media. Issa Rae can say that. Yeah. Right? When she go to the Oscars and they ask her who she voting for,
all
or
the
who
black
she
people.
want, everybody black, baby. And you know what? To the death of me, I agree. However, if you're running for the president of the United States, you have to be more expansive in who you're trying to represent.
Did Obama say that?
He did not.
Okay, so then let's move on.
Yes,
like, what y'all talking about?
But this is something that specifically helps black people, okay?
No, that's called, I just don't like her, so let me find something.
Yeah, they find these little clips and they circulate them and they make it seem like she is just this terrible human and that is just not the reality. She also helped increase funding to HBCUs by, let me get this figure, baby, because it was like a lot of money. I want to say it was in the billions.
Which is necessary because I always see the people complaining about how Howard be.
Let's
go. Y'all need these funds.
They definitely need.
They definitely be online like we in the.
They
the
be
water
in the trenches,
face,
baby.
so
they be in the trenches. It's something through the Title III program.
Okay.
Her and Biden made the biggest investment in HBCUs historically, and it was in the billions, $17 billion.
We giving y'all the facts on
invested into HBCUs.
Let's go.
This is super, super, super important. These are your future black doctors, lawyers, congressmen, like all of the marketing agents. These are your future black professionals of America
that we need.
It is so important to invest in, because this is the thing. We tend to fare worse in predominantly, or what is it, private white institutions, and just white institutions in general, just because we deal with racism. We deal with, we saw this week, like, and this judge who this child was falling asleep and he put her in jail.
He put her in jail because
he put her in jail clothes and handcuffs, and they did some kind of fucking weird ass mock trial situation.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah,
I saw somebody talking about that, and I was like, too much?
I think the crazy thing is this doesn't actually prove the point that I was talking about. This was a black judge who did this, and sir, you deserve to be disbarred, and I hope that they take you off the bench. I hope you lose your job.
He was having a bad day because it was a bit much.
Somebody else posted a video of him being abusive to another black woman. So
he has
he hates black women. Or he just
another one.
Let me not say nothing that could be considered defamatory. He seems to have a pattern of abusive behavior to black women. But yeah,
y'all gotta stop that.
I think it's very important to point these things out, because when you're asking what has she done,
what has
this administration done, these are the things that they have done. She also just has a bunch of policies, and people are going to say her policies are not reasonable. They're not realistic. They're realistic. They're going to increase the deficit.
Or everybody's saying this is what they always do. They tell us this in the beginning, and none of it happens. Just like Biden said he was going to take care of our student loans, and he didn't.
But he did forgive 4.5 million student loans.
Not all y'all can get forgiven.
Everybody can't get forgiven at the same time.
Some of y'all went to one of them little colleges in the grocery store. He can't forgive that. Okay, it's not his fault. He can't.
My mom's student loans are forgiven. So I'm one of the people who knows somebody who knows somebody, okay? My mama's student loans were forgiven. And my mom is 69 years old. So to finally be from under that burden after all these years. And it's so funny because she just got her master's degree. I love her.
Okay, then.
Like, she really just be like, bitch, I'm going to get this education.
I think
okay?
the
black women going to get a master's degree, baby.
They will get a master's.
They going to get a master's.
And they will get it at 70. They don't play no games.
Literally, she told me she was going to get it when she was like 65. And I was like, Mama, you're 65. And she was like,
my best friend's mom just did that. She just got her master's.
Yeah.
And she's in her 60s.
Yes. And I think it's beautiful that she did that, but she got her loans forgiven. Yeah. And so when we're talking about like, what are they going to do for black people? Getting your loans forgiven as a black person
is insane.
It's amazing because this allows us to put our money towards other things.
On top of that, you guys, like, at least for me, when I was coming up, there was no such thing. You were just gonna be paying those. A lot of my friends literally paid their student loans back, just living life, going through it. Millennials have been honey. I don't know what y'all complaining about.
Me and my
paid most of mine.
We broke up.
I paid most of mine, and then I think I had like maybe 2 left. They got forgiven during the Biden thing because they weren't that much money anyway. Yeah. But most of my student loans, I went to a private school, like an art school, so that's not really a forgiving kind of thing, I don't think, because it was like you're paying out of pocket. It was like a state FAFSA type of situation. I was paying out of pocket for that.
You got a FAFSA?
No, that's what I was trying to say. Maybe I was saying it the wrong way. Okay. No, I went to Columbia College at one point. I went to a few different colleges. So I did have student loans for like when I went to Illinois State and when I went to another little like school where I did all my FAFSA. I was forgiven for those, but I was not forgiven for the private school that I kind of had to pay out of pocket.
So I wonder, because I definitely went to a private school. Either way, I forgave myself for the loan, so it's fine.
I mean, that's always the best thing to do, is to start with forgiving yourself first. But no, I think those things are what people need to know. And that's the point of this episode, you guys, is to educate you guys into what we're facing this round of our election, so that people aren't walking into this based off of a lie, a brunch conversation. Like, yeah, we can't have that this time. Yeah. We really can't. The position that we're in and where things are going, that everybody isn't seeing, or maybe you are feeling, and I feel like people are. And this is for like not just Black culture. Told you the other day I decided to drive, make a little extra money, and I had, younger Caucasian women in the back were like talking about how they're not getting jobs and how their friends are depressed. And like, this is the topic of where we are.
We're all going through the same thing.
We are all going through the same thing.
But a lot of what we're going through is because of what Trump did from 2016 to 2020.
Absolutely.
That's the other thing. So I think when we talk about the lesser of two evils, when we look at that Trump presidency, when we look into how the pandemic was handled, right? Like, the pandemic did not need to be a pandemic. Obama had constructed a pandemic response team. Historically, every 100 years, we have a pandemic, okay?
Ow.
He constructed a pandemic response team. And there were people in place to like identify and thwart something like this from happening. And what Trump did when he came in office, I don't know if y'all remember this, but he literally was just disbanding a bunch of shit. He was like, I don't know what this means. Get rid of it.
Get it out of here. It was just... Well, he had his moment where he was like, he said on TV, I'm getting rid of anything and everything that Obama did because he didn't like Obama.
Yeah.
He had beef with him.
You got rid of the pandemic response team, but what ended up happening is we did not have a strong response to it in the beginning. I remember theory.
Like right before it happened, this was February of 2019, was it?
I don't know.
Okay.
No. The pandemic was 2020.
Okay, February of 2020.
So it would have been February 2020.
So I remember I had a show in Chicago, and it was right around the All-Star weekend. Basketball All-Star weekend was in Chicago. And I remember seeing that. I got on my flight, and they had these things like masks, and it was never something I've ever seen before. And it was everywhere. And even on the flights, some people had them on, some people didn't. And I was just like, you don't pay no mind, because that was not a normal thing for us. But I remember being like, we partied down because it was All-Star weekend. And I remember I flew back. It was
everybody
literally
was probably getting sick.
Everybody. I didn't get it, but I think
I didn't get it either.
I didn't get it during the actual pandemic. No.
I never got it.
I got it later.
I literally have never tested positive.
The Omarion version they were talking about.
What's the Omarion version?
Omicron, but they were calling it Omarion.
Yes, okay.
I don't know. The internet is wild.
The crazy thing is, like, I feel like I really got some, like, crazy genes because I was in the room with somebody. Like, I went on a trip, and the person that I went on the trip with got it. And we were
I had got vaccinated when I got it. Because my family kept getting it. They was in Atlanta already,
so maybe that's why I didn't get it. But yeah, I remember.
Every time I went to Atlanta, my family was like, we got it again. Yeah. We just got our taste back.
Damn.
And then I went again, and it was like, because I always go home for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I got it. It was, even being vaccinated, it was wild. I didn't lose no taste.
It's rough, yeah. I think the thing is, it's a lot of times people have reduced COVID down to a cold, and it's not that. It's that was a different reaction. Every person has a different reaction. But if Trump had a more cohesive plan to deal with COVID, I don't think that it would have gone the way it went. And so he politicized it and made it a right versus left thing, and made it a Democrats versus a Republican thing. When in reality, this is just a communicable fucking
and it blew
virus.
Up, and we didn't know what to do. We were unprepared.
Needed to be handled.
I remember I had a lot of friends in New York, and a lot of them are still traumatized by it, honey. They were like, I just can't forget the sirens, and like he just was unprepared. It spread like wildfire so fast.
And I think if it had been taken seriously at the beginning, we never would have had
to go home.
We probably wouldn't have had to go home, but we certainly wouldn't have lost millions of lives because the president didn't see fit to address these very real
and
health concerns in an adequate way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if he had taken it seriously, we would have been a lot better off. And so I think when we're talking about the lesser
because you gonna come out and just say China did it and then turn off the mic.
It turned up the racism and the xenophobia, and I think we experienced a lot more trauma under Trump than people like to remember. They like to trot out these little sound bites, but no, this motherfucker was awful.
It was wild. I can't believe people don't even.
And then they talk about the stimulus check.
The ride of our lives.
He didn't give you the stimulus check.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with him.
He didn't want to give you a stimulus check. Congress gave you a stimulus check.
Congress gave you that, and that was also that was put in place prior, I believe, wasn't it?
Well, I just feel like this idea that because he gave you $1,400, baby. If you ain't made $1,400 since 2020, you have bigger fish to fry.
Things are not going well.
But he didn't give it to you.
I thought that was something that Obama put in place prior, just in case.
I don't know what
because when he came into office, it was like things were already like gonna happen anyway.
Well, I don't know if
I think that Obama kind of knew, though. I'm not gonna front on y'all.
You think he knew that there was going to be?
I think something was on the horizon. There were rumors, and there were also things I looked up, and they were true. That while he was in office, he did start getting not refugee camps, but camps like that for.
He had a pandemic response team.
Yeah,
yeah,
but that means they know. And come on now, you ain't sitting in the Oval Office and they just call you.
There have been a lot of pandemics historically,
and so having a response team has stopped us from being in those positions.
Yes,
and that's why we haven't seen anything like that in quite some time.
When we say Trump,
it's important.
It's the lesser of two evils, where it's a false equivalent.
And here's the thing: you have to keep in mind, you have to choose a candidate that takes things that are important to your livelihood seriously. Mm-hmm. Do we understand where we're going here? Mm-hmm. Like someone was like, you know what? Leave him in a boat. We're gonna do this. Yeah. Like I have jokes about this, but during the time when Trump was in office, all these things are going on, you guys, and nobody noticed that he was up on Twitter. In the morning, just upset. Like, have you ever been in your house ready to go off on somebody? Like, your man's was in there just typing. He's off his hinge. Like, we don't need that in office with all the things that are going on right now. Like, I need to get my life back. To me, I feel like life has not been normal since the pandemic.
We have not had a normal year since 2019. 2019 I don't know what's going last on. Normal year. He also tried to cut funding to HBCUs by $100 million.
Absolutely. So please make sure that he did. I remember that. And nobody highlighted that. It was maybe on the news like once or twice. Mm-hmm. And then everybody moved on.
But we got Roe v. Wade overturned. And so, in the 2025 project, they want to use the CDC to surveil abortion care and collect data on women who are receiving abortion care. They also want to further criminalize women who receive abortion care.
They want to do, wait a minute, what? Go back up. They said they want to do what to women?
Further criminalize?
But what was that you said before? They want to do
surveil them. So they want to increase surveillance through the CDC of people who are receiving abortion care. So through data collection by the CDC, they want to be able to figure out which women in what states are receiving abortion care. And then criminalize them in some way, whether that means that you're going to jail for a year or the rest of your life. However that looks, they want to criminalize abortion care. They've already criminalized abortion care in several states.
It's so funny you say that because I just found this video online last night that I'm going to stitch and make a video. This girl was like, don't eat the crackers at the abortion clinic. They didn't put me to sleep and took the baby out and put it back in.
What?
Bitch, I said, now that don't make no damn sense. She said they took the baby out for the abortion, gave her a cracker. The cracker made her fall back to sleep and they put the baby back in.
All right, I don't know.
We'll get to that later. Okay. But it made me be like, what?
I don't know what's happening.
What's going on? That's what I said.
Maybe I got to see the video. I don't know.
She said something crazy like that happened. And I was like, what?
But yeah, I feel like they also want to do the thing where they're cutting, there are states that have organizations that help women who live in states that cannot get access to abortion care.
I heard about that.
They create funding so that women can travel across state lines to get abortion care. Right?
But they have been trying to stop that too.
They're trying to stop that.
Or incriminate them for that. That's like an underground railroad to get rid of the damn baby. This is crazy.
Literally, your life depends on who gets elected.
Because he's already trying to give them a lot of power.
Well, he padded the Supreme Court. So let's be clear that we have...
it's the Handmaid's Tale. Yeah,
6 I'm not doing it. Conservative justices. How many conservative justices do we have?
Listen, if you want to be a part of the Handmaid's Tale and you trying to be locked up, or you want to, I look at it like if Trump get in office, you're going to be knocking on a alley anonymous door being like, the password is get rid of that kid. No, I want to live what the times we're living in, free.
But we're not even free at this point. I want everybody to understand.
We're not free, but
we feel free because we in California, and we feel free because we have not run into the type of person who could infringe upon our rights in a way that would make us understand how free we are not. However,
I mean, there's other countries that experience that. Yes, I'm sure.
No, but we experience it here. Like, look at this woman. Sonia Massey called the police because she thought she saw an intruder and this man murdered her. We're not free, I don't feel like.
No. There's a difference between being black and free.
This is what I'm saying, though. Free. This is what I'm saying. So I just think that when we're talking about what our freedoms look like, yes, we experience a certain level of privilege living in America as long as we do not run into the wrong person in authority. Because when you think about this child being in a courtroom with this judge and she's falling asleep because she does not have adequate housing, and this man puts her in jail clothes and handcuffs, that's not freedom.
Right? I think, I've experienced it here in California. Like, when you're a black woman or any source of color, authority really doesn't respect you. They don't respect you as a person or your life either. So if you do get into a situation where you are in the system or just a simple arrest, it's a really, like, I'll give before we go, I'll give an experience. I got arrested in 2018. I got into an altercation at a hotel, and it was like a conflict argument, and the security guards broke up the fight. Mm-hmm. And when they broke up the fight, I was calm, but since I was the black girl that got into a fight with another person, they were more aggressive with handling me of separating that fight versus the other person. Yeah. And when they did that, they handled me in a way, I'm a little girl, but they handled me in a way of like very rough and looking for the smoke. Mm-hmm. So and let me tell y'all what happened to me. So how the altercation of how I end up getting a court case and all of it wasn't because I was being irate and I fought the police. I have this on film. One of the police officers, while they were like roughing me up and trying to act like they were diffusing the situation, she sat on my chest. Mm-hmm. And when she sat on me, my instinct came in of, this bitch is sitting on me and I can't breathe. So I think she thought I was small. When I lifted her entire body and threw her and everybody was like, what's happening? Yeah. It was like, well, what result did you want? Did we want this to be another I die because you want to be too much? When you're breaking up a normal fight, somehow you've moved this other woman in the corner, but you need to
sit on my chest.
Yeah. Like, I'm not even fighting you. Yeah. So it ended up being, in other words, they look for the smoke for our people. And I'm just like, do you really want that as your life? Like, having authority of that. On top of that, you guys, after that situation happened, now they looked at me as the assessor after I was being approached. And when I got put into the police car, I was already in cuffs. One of the police officers said, if you don't stop talking, I'm going to mace you.
Yeah.
So this is the world we live in. And you're looking at me like I'm this little tiny girl. No one really cared about me and changed that whole thing until I got to the police station. Even other white officers were like, she doesn't seem aggressive. She doesn't seem like any of this is necessary. Like, why are we... Honey, I had got bail, and one of the guys was like upset that I got bail.
Well, I would venture a guess, and this is just a guess, but we live in America, and I'm almost 90% sure I'm right, that colorism also had something to do with that.
Well, he said to me when I had got bail, he was like, I don't care. Just because you have a rich boyfriend, we're going to make you sit here. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure you miss the time so they can send you to a correctional facility. Mm-hmm. But since my boyfriend at the time also had a lawyer, like, we know that you're doing this, we'll sue this. And they were so pissed. Yeah. They were so pissed that a black woman had money, but I also and a lawyer and the whole thing.
Yeah. Because they usually can get away with a level of disregard for our humanity.
Yeah. And so this whole experience for me was for me to really see the system. Because like once I got past that and also did go to court, you guys, and I had an amazing lawyer. He's still a friend of mine to this day. When they couldn't make me a felon and that man came through and shut it down and my entire record was smooth off cleared, people were angry. Yeah. The courtroom was angry that it was like, who is she to come in here? How dare her have a good lawyer and can pay for it? Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. So
like the judge was rude to me because of that. Like it was to the point where my lawyer had to say, she doesn't need a gun.
Are we okay?
No, she said to me, well, fine. She can't have a gun for 3 years. And my lawyer came to the mic and was like, she's a comic. There's no need. We just need to make sure she can go to her shows.
Yeah.
Tapped off mic. Everybody was like, what? hold things off my record. But what I'm saying is that experience as a Black woman and being someone educated who has gone to college and does not get into fights and was in a white environment, you need to make sure you know who you're voting for, or you're going to get your chest set on.
Yeah. So what have we learned today? Look,
what did we learn?
We talked about a lot of stuff. We've learned that Trump padded the Supreme Court and we have lost a lot of rights because of that. We learned that the 2025 project is a real thing. We didn't really get to touch on a lot of those points. But something big that we can talk about is that Roe v. Wade got overturned, but there's also a very large faction of Republicans working to suppress voters in red states, in swing states, so that they can try to get Trump reelected. Yeah. There's also Trump appointed election commissioners who it's a little dicey whether they will certify the election or not. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that have taken place over the last 8 years. 8 years. From when Trump was elected initially to now where he's rerunning, where the idea that it's the lesser of two evils, we have seen and know for sure that this is not the case. I mean, the man did a Muslim ban the first 72 hours he was in office. Like, what are we talking about?
What are we saying here? What is the argument?
We're talking about, I just don't feel like we're not giving the full scope of information when we say things like this. And so for us,
I think we should do a part 2 and we should do a full thing of like, if you are a Trump supporter, this is what you support. So people can, because sometimes people look at it like, oh, we could sit here and look as if we're Kamala supporters. Kamala, I'm trying to get this name right. Kamala supporters, and people are probably gonna make comments to us and be like, oh, that's because you guys want to go with her. You don't see that he does this. If you guys think that we should do a second episode, put it in the comments. We'll talk about if you are a Trump supporter, because you have the choice to vote for whoever you want to. We'll just tell you what you're voting for.
Yeah.
That way it'll help you educate and hear out loud what that could be. I'm gonna be honest,
I don't know if they care.
They might not, but sometimes I feel like, you gotta turn the mirror on somebody and be like, oh, that's what you about.
We're gonna see.
Oh, that's what you on. We love you guys. And the Girls Want to Know is back. We definitely want you to make comments about this. Let us know in the comments what you want to talk about next, or should we do a part 2?
You guys, this was great. It was so good to see y'all. We'll see y'all later. Bye, boos.